are the one who deserves to be the Dark Lord. You cannot hide from what you once were, Revan. Savior, conqueror, hero, villain. You are all things, Revan, and yet you are nothing.
So about 2 years ago now, I actually reviewed Revan's Sith lightsaber, which is pretty boring, but today we are going to be looking at his Jedi hilt. I'm not like a super crazy fan of this hilt, I just always was intrigued by the design, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about this one. I much prefer this one to the Sith version of his hilt. This one's just very bland. But if you're someone who's a big fan of Revan and you want to pick one of these up, you can check out Sabers. That's where I've been getting a lot of my hilts recently, and you can use my code at checkout. I'm going to put that on screen. It will save you some credits. Let's go ahead and open this up. We have 3 latches on the outside of the case. All right, we have the hilt front and center. I'm gonna go ahead and move the case to the right so you can see everything that's in here. You've got the white gloves, which you really don't need these when it's not a chrome hilt. Over here on the far right, we have a couple of blade plugs. Now, this is only gonna come with one, but I did throw in this extra one here to show you the different colors that it may come with. The biggest issue I have with these blade plugs is that they're just so common, and most of the time they don't fit into the hilt and they stick out and it makes it look dumb. But let's go ahead and see. Let's try the silver one for this. And you can see that it sticks out just a little bit, but it kind of fits with this design. We have a manual, which is always nice, especially if you've never owned a Neopixel before. Next up, there's a bag with your charger, Allen wrench, and your retention screws. There's this bag with a placard for your display stand. This is probably my biggest complaint with these hilts from Sabers, is that I really wish they branded it with the character's name or something like that. But instead they just branded with Sabers, and I totally get that, but it would just make it that much better. And then underneath that you have the display stand box, and then when you put it together, it's going to look something like this. And just like always, the last thing in the case is of course the Neopixel blade. This is a dual worthy blade. If you get the 1" from an LGT or a TXQ vendor, they're going to be dual worthy as long as it's the 1". It of course comes with the protective bottom and the plastic. This right here is everything that you get laid out in a kind of sloppy way, but you get everything that you need. All right, at this point in the video, I'm gonna go over how to use this saber and just some of the features and things to know about it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is get into the chassis by untwisting the pommel down here on the bottom. Comes off, and then you can just pull the chassis out very nicely. And we have the very standard TXQ removable chassis. This is a Proffie board V2, not a V3. You can see the port to connect right there. It's very easy to get to. Speaker on the bottom, USB-C charging port down there. And if you want to remove the battery, I always recommend using a Lego tool top to bottom until it comes out. And when you put it back in, make sure you line positive with positive, negative with negative. It's very important, or you could fry the board. To put the chassis back in, you can see these 2 arrows on the top of the chassis go straight with the face of the hilt, and you'll feel it rest in place. And you can screw the pommel back on just like so. You can screw off the very top of the emitter, but it's not going to do anything for you. It's just going to remove this piece. But I always go over everything. Now, in terms of these claws, and I'm sure a lot of you are wondering, how does this feel in the hands given the way that it's designed? It's not really that uncomfortable. It's just like you're holding a bigger hilt, maybe more accurate size, you know, towards the Disney sabers. I would say it feels more like that, because this is not too chunky of a hilt when you get underneath the spikes, but with these poking out, it then becomes a much bigger grip and really just feels like any other saber. The buttons feel really good. They are very sturdy. That's a big thing for me, is how the buttons are, how sturdy they are, because I've had tons of sabers where they start out okay, the button's kind of annoying, and over time it just wears down, breaks, bends, something of that nature, and it's really annoying. So buttons are a huge factor, and a saber's quality for me. And you'll also notice, if you look closely, that the buttons are slightly illuminated. I do wish that it was much brighter because it's kind of, I mean, it's really dim, but at least it's there. It's better than nothing. I always love an illuminated button. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. As for gestures go with this, you have twist on and off. You don't have swing or stab on, but twist on and off, in my opinion, are the best ones. And you do have smooth swing, of course. It is a Neopixel. You have flash on clash, blaster deflection. So let's go ahead and see how much this weighs. You've got a whopping 14.6 ounces. 14.6, that is including the hilt with the battery. Still pretty light, still very light.
Anakin.
General Kenobi.
Teensy.
Smooth fuzz. Smooth gray. Smooth Jedi.
I am told it is the dark saber.